What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 22 of our Millwall career here on Football Manager 20. And today we have got the end of season roundup after securing promotion last episode. Last episode we played West Ham as well as Bournemouth. 2 wins there that sealed our safety in the Premier League, which is obviously excellent. And then, we had Tottenham and Liverpool, a 1-0 loss away. Liverpool actually won the league with that. And then we were 1-0 down here, and then we went down to 10 men, and 5-1 being the final. But as you can see, we're done here. 5 points ahead of Fulham, and we ended on 37 from 38. Not awful. Obviously, we stayed up, which was the goal, and that'll probably be our goal for the next season or two, and to build on the squad. But today we're going to look at the end of season stuff, and then we will talk about what we will try and do in the transfer window in next year round. But here we are. Fans player of the season, Jake Cooper. Romeo in there as well, and then Bakuna. And then Bakuna had goal of the season, and then he had signing of the season and young player of the season. At 23, young player of the season is kind of a lot, but it is what it is. He works in a variety of different roles here. I've been thinking about moving him to box because he's properly well-rounded, and then maybe finding another creative kind of player. We'll see about that in the off season. It's just one of those things. Our season review. We had been expected to be relegation certainties heading into the season, but we did not get relegated, of course. As you can see, we kind of went up and down, and then eventually kind of just found our way up toward the end of the season and finished, above that line. But we have a bit of potential here to kind of stick around, kind of stick around in that 13, 14, 15 area instead of kind of fighting these bottom 4 or 5 spots. But we'll see how that goes. Our club vision meeting: work within the payroll budget and then fight bravely against relegation. And that's kind of all we have to do for the coming years, but we'd obviously like to build on what we've done this year, so we'll see. Our end of team meeting: we haven't done a good enough job playing in the style we're supposed to. You've done well enough to adopt our style. Focus on next time round. We might be in a relegation battle, and you're all going to need to battle hard to stay up. That sounds about right for them, and they love it. Squad end of season break, ready to roll. Training camp destination. Where are we headed? Where should we go? Kind of like... we'll go to Germany. Why not? Kind of like to stay in Europe and get everything rolling around, as Guardiola's been fired by Manchester City. Board to upgrade training facilities, and then our new payroll budget, £41.5 million in the bank. That is a good bit of money, and then a good payroll budget as well, so theoretically it could get up pretty high depending on where you want to move the payroll. So that's a decent amount of money. We're going to have a little bit to do. There are going to be some big wages going off the budget. Is Matt Smith one of them? It is. Matt Smith will be leaving at $10K a week. We'll go to the unders as well. This is where we're hiding those players who are just kind of sucking up cash. Obita, he's still here a little bit. We may try and move him on, but he's on $10K a week. And then Scalak is here another year. He's on $24K a week. So we've been trying to move him on for a little bit now, and he's still kind of floating around here, which is a shame. Tuazi's grown a little bit this year. I'm gonna see if I can move him out on loan, get him some proper play time, and hopefully he'll grow a little bit more. But yeah, so there are some players leaving, at least one player leaving, $10K a week out the door. Hopefully we can move the other 2 on. He'd like to discuss an improved contract. Tom Bradshaw, when is his contract till? 2023. I kind of want to keep him around, but I also don't want to pay him 40K a week. Let's just say the club can't afford it. Okay, we'll hold on to it for a little bit, and we'll go forward and see if something happens. Our strikers are pretty good. My thing with Bradshaw is he gets into good positions. He doesn't finish. Noel doesn't get into the greatest positions, but he's a better finisher, I think. So we shall see going forward what we can do with those. If we can find, and maybe we find another striker at a good price. You know, we'll see a variety of different things. We are going to have ourselves an important off season. Let's look at the tactics for now and take a look at where we actually want to go in terms of transfer window. I want to go with another right back. McCarthy, I don't know. He's just not great. He's not awful or anything. He'd be a really good third or, you know, emergency option. At left back, I think we'll be okay. Maybe if a really good one comes along, we may get one in, but I think we're okay at left back for the moment. Center back, we're going to need a proper good center back. Mavropanos' loan ends, and we'll, and, you know, our center backs are just not up to it. Murray Wallace, Hutchinson, Pierce. We don't have a ton of brilliant center backs here. Hutchinson's okay. He's getting older now, so center back may be an option where maybe one of those things where we have to bring in 2 or 3 people. We will have to see. In midfield, I don't know if I want to play this as a ball winner or a deep line playmaker next year. If we move Bakuna box to box, we're kind of good at box to box because Thompson can play there. Heineman can play there, and then we may just find another playmaker or 2, depending on what's going on here. Winger, Mahoney's just, he doesn't play well, does he? We may have to move him on and see what we can get for him. We'll see. At left wing, Niguez and Grosicki both played pretty well this year. Not great, not, you know, flying in terms of what we're looking at here, but Niguez played really, really well, but we can definitely upgrade on this position. Niguez had a really good second half of the year, but we can upgrade here, but Niguez is not too bad for what he is. We may look to move one of these 2 out and then bring one in. We'll see. I'm not so sure yet. Grosicki, everything is okay on Grosicki except he gets incredibly tired really quick, so I don't know. I don't know where we go. I don't know what we do in terms of that. And then if a striker comes along as well, we may look to bring one in. He gets in good positions, we've said it, but he's, as you can see, 28 and starting to move toward being a little bit older. Noel is still growing. He's 23. He's grown a little bit this year. Still got a little bit to grow. And as we said, he's a better finisher. And he's got some good stats for what this is. So I don't want to get rid of Noel. He may not have scored the most goals, but he scored some important ones late. And he, you know, toward the beginning of the year, we were doing a lot of mixing and matching. We didn't score a ton of goals on the year or anything like that. So it's we're gonna have to work on creating more chances, scoring more goals next year around, and we may do that with a little bit more creativity in midfield. We'll have to see. And you have to kind of figure how much of a pull we're gonna have in terms of bringing players in, or bringing the right players in, and, you know, not being, you know, screwed over if we get relegated, and a lot of low relegation release clauses, and we got to get contracts with dips in them and things like that. So it's another one of those off seasons. We're gonna have 2 or 3 of those. This will be the second, maybe next year as well, depending on what happens, before we kind of have enough players all over the pitch to go ahead and, you know, really work out what happens and get ourselves a squad that's really, really good. Leonard's leaving at the end as well, 10K. We can take a look at the squad in general, see if we can add something in here in terms of contract. There we go. Expires. So these all expire this year here. Gardner's leaving Mavropanos is leaving. Murray Wallace is leaving on a free. Another one who, didn't quite cut it out. That's $9K a week. Mavropanos, we're paying him $7K a week. Gardner, who didn't play a ton toward the end of the season, $10K a week. He's a good player, a really good player, but we don't run deep lying playmaker here, and he'd be a good option. He'd be pretty expensive, which he's not going anywhere or anything like that. So maybe just someone to keep an eye out going forward. Sean Williams, 8.75K a week. Frank, we're going to need to get another goalkeeper in, 7.5K a week. Alex Pierce, 10K a week. So we got 6, 7, 8 players leaving. There's some money there, almost 60, 70 grand going out the door per week, which is good to bring in, of course, and players we're not necessarily looking like losing that will really, really affect us. We're going to have to replace players, of course, but we'll have to see. Ferguson would like an improved contract. All right, we'll try and discuss this a little bit with Ferguson, mainly because his contract ends in a year. He's on 7.5K a week. I do not want... I'm going to have to lock this in as squad player. I want to lock it in as squad player, but I also don't want to lose him. We'll go with regular starter. He plays enough to fulfill that. And this is kind of where things go out just a little bit. Get him in another 3 years. Team of the Year bonus. We'll give him 1.2 million if he enters the Team of the Year. That won't be a huge issue for me. Goal bonus. Why not up the goal bonus a little bit? 23K a week. I mean, that's not awful. The money we were making, it was slowly going up. 2 million, 6 million. We're making like 4 million a month. In terms of bringing cash into the club, which is good, so we can afford to mess it. I didn't want that. See, that's the issue with the current squad we have, because I want to eventually, this squad's going to need a huge jump in quality, and when you have players who are like 1 or 2 years away, you don't want to lose them for free, but you also don't want to overpay them, because eventually you're going to have to move them on. It's a difficult spot we're in. We're in a tough spot, but that's also a player, if we go down, that would stick around and not go anywhere, and a player who'd be good to have in the squad. So, upping his wage a little bit wasn't too bad. So I think that's what we're gonna end up with, guys. We'll take a look. There aren't too many players who want to come, or we're gonna have trouble bringing players in, that are really, really good and, really want to be a part of the squad. I mean, the quality we can bring in with our reputation isn't huge or anything like that. So it's tough. It's going to be a tough off season, and hopefully we can bring in the right players, bring in the right amount of players, the right positions, and we can set ourselves up for next year, guys. But that is going to be the end, guys, right here. Next episode will be the transfers we bought in, our first game of the season, that sort of stuff. But for now, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. And peace.